Today, let's talk about incident management with Remedyforce. We'll start off from the user perspective. With Remedyforce, your users can utilize various methods to enter tickets for your staff to resolve. First way I'd like to talk about is through the use of an application that they can put onto their handheld devices called MyIT. So what I have displayed on the screen, I'm basically mirroring my iPad, and the iPad has the MyIT application installed on it. And what you'll see here, again, is the way that they can interact with the help desk. Now, think of MyIT as really that social media aspect brought down to the service desk. So what we'll see at this very first screen, I'm on the home screen, and what I'm able to see is a feed. It has my location there at the top. I can see a feed, so it's got all my incidents that I've entered. Various services that I'm following are also appearing on this feed. So basically anything that I've followed, I've subscribed to, is going to appear in my feed. On the right-hand side, I can see the people and services and groups that I've joined. Again, when I hit those, I can just delve right into that specific person or service and see what's going on at any given point. So again, much like social media, those things that you follow, those people that you follow are showing up on your page. You can delve into one of them. So there I've gone into the corporate intranet because I'm following that particular service. Now I can see everything that they're posting. Okay, so here let's go back to this home screen, and I'm going to go into support. So here's where, again, as an end user, I need some support. I can do a quick search, and what this will afford me, so here I'm just going to put in print. And you'll see it's bringing up on the right-hand side any knowledge articles that have the word print in them. I can see as well any support requests. So if any of these meet what I'm trying to do, I can delve into it at this point and look at how to set up that wireless printer, that knowledge article, or do a quick support request, maybe with a local printer, and get those issues resolved. Okay? I'll just clear out our search bar. You'll notice right underneath that search, I have the line that says, I have a problem that needs to be fixed. Now, the nice thing with MyIT, you can customize this language to be equal to what your end users are used to seeing. So in that sense, it's very user-friendly. It's going to be very intuitive. And again, it's allowing them to quickly request a service, go through a couple of questions, and then have that submitted up to the help desk. So here with I have a problem that needs to be fixed. I see really 4 common issues on this home page. So perhaps I am having an issue with a printer. So when I click that, who am I requesting it for? Well, it's for me. And understand these questions that you're presenting them, you're going to be able to tune this down as well. So if you want to ask very minimal questions, you can do that. If you want to ask a few more questions, you can do that as well. But this screen, I guess, that you're presenting your end user, you can have this be as exhaustive as you would like. So I'm requesting it for myself. It's an issue with my locally attached printer. The manufacturer of mine happens to be a Dell, and the model, we'll just say it's 123. And here, let's give them a quick description. So I've got low ink. And then here, my impact. Well, it's really minor and localized, really just for me. So we'll put that urgency as a low as well. And again, if you don't want to ask all those questions, you can tune this form down where you're asking the most basic questions. You really just want them the ability to enter that ticket. So here I'm going to go ahead and say submit. And you'll notice at the top of the screen, it's going to let me know submitted, and you can view it in My Activity. Perfect. Now, these were the common issues that we're seeing from a help desk perspective. When I hit View All, now I can peruse through all the issues that I could potentially enter. So kind of think of that first screen as those common ones. And again, what you're trying to do is allow your user to, or afford them the ability to enter a ticket very quickly without having to do a lot of searching. So maybe the issue that I'm having is not anything that's listed here, so I need something else. So again, what I'm showing here are the most common requests that come into the help desk. So maybe I need to adjust my room temperature. They've got a typo there, but you'll get the idea. So here again, I'm requesting it for myself. These options are, the next 3 questions are optional, so I can answer them or not, but I'll go ahead. You'll notice the submit in the upper right-hand screen is enabled, so I could just submit this at this point, but I'll say it's too hot, I don't have access to the thermostat, and it's a low urgency. And there again, I'm just going to submit. I can see here at the bottom, they're telling me the time to complete this request is 1 day. So again, there I'll go ahead and submit. Okay? And so there again at the top, yes, it's submitted, and you can see it in my activity. Now, the next one under there talks about my how-to resources. So think of this as your knowledge base that you're exposing to your end-user community. So there again, on that front screen, the most common articles I can nest here. So maybe we're doing something new with allowing people to reset their passwords with a text message. So as an end user, I click that when I want to see what's entailed. I've got the title there, and then I can look through and see what I need to do. Perfect. So now I know how to reset my password just by utilizing that text message. I don't have to submit a ticket. They've given me the information and a knowledge article. I can just walk through this article. So when we close this knowledge article, now we're back at that home screen, and again, hitting view all lets me peruse through all the knowledge articles that have been created from the help desk. Now, I'm going to head back to the home screen, because if you have the opportunity for your end users to enter something very quick. So at the very bottom, you'll notice the post search or IT request. So when I go in here and put something like, let's do print. Okay, so what it's doing there is quickly bringing up, I see my knowledge article, I'm able to see services that I can follow. When I put the exclamation mark, I can, at this point, really quickly create an incident, a request, or an appointment. So if we just do an incident and submit, this is the idea of a quick incident. So again, it's just going to throw it up to the help desk. So if you want them, it's just kind of iterating how you can allow your end users to very quickly enter a request. That one, all we did was hit print, the exclamation mark, and now it's submitted up to the help desk. They'll have to, of course, do some questioning to me once they see that ticket, but your user has entered a ticket very quickly. Okay, so the other thing to note, I'm seeing a lot of activity in my feed here. So when I hit Service Health, here's where I can see, of course, those services that I'm following. But if I hit all, then I can cherry pick and go out here and choose some additional services that I may want to follow. Again, this is going to allow them to appear in my feed. So as they're making updates and making announcements, it's in my feed. I'm going to be made aware of it. So if I want to follow that San Jose Power, I can see there I'm just opting for the follow, and then how do I want to receive my notification? I can do it email or the device. So we'll say the device. Okay, and now we'll head back to this home screen. So again, the MyIT application is just a quick way for your users to interact with the help desk. It is an application that they can put onto their mobile devices that will allow them to quickly enter tickets, view the statuses of tickets on their handheld devices. So with that, let's transition to now, assuming they don't have an application on their handheld device, and they're just going to utilize their laptop or basically the browser for that perspective. So here we'll minimize my iPad, and I'm going to bring up, again, the self-service portal. So you'll have the MyIT app. You still have the self-service portal if you want that. The MyIT app that we just looked at, if you want that interface exposed from the browser perspective, you can do that as well. So they end up looking at that same interface, but they're going to do it from their browser on their laptop, their desktop, etc. But what I want to show from this perspective is the chat feature. So again, I'm in the self-service portal. You'll notice that they'll have this Remedyforce chat. And if I have technicians that are in an available status, then they can see any requests coming in from the end user. So I can see I do have a technician out there that's available. She's saying, hello, how may I help you? So maybe I say something to the effect of a particular application is misbehaving. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to send that. And now what I'm going to do is switch over into the technician perspective so we can answer this, and then you'll see how when we save it, it's going to get logged as an incident. Okay, so here let's come in as my technician. And I can see the information came in from Peter Campbell that his WinSCP is not launching. So we'll just say I'll take a look at it. Okay. So there, I've sent him the note back. He's receiving that communication. And then what I'm going to do is just close the Remedyforce chat. And when I do that, it's asking me, do you want to create a new incident or do you want to put this onto an existing incident? Well, this is a new one. So I'm going to say new incident. But let's assume that I've created it and he's called in and he's still having issues with that application. Then I can choose existing incident, and what that will do is just add the conversation to that existing ticket for me. So will say new incident. And what it's showing now is who that client ID is. I'm able to see the conversation that has gone back and forth. And then I'm just going to do one more thing here. So the incident source, we can see it's chat, and I'm going to go ahead and save this incident. And so while that becomes important, this incident source, any of the fields on this form, you're going to be able to report against it. So maybe we want to move people away from sending emails. That source, I could have chosen email. When an email comes up, it automatically puts email in there, but I can then see a quick report that lets me see how many incidents are coming in over email, how many times are they stopping me in the hall, how many times are they using self-service, how many times are they using that MyIT app, and start to trend our users to a different tool. Okay, so that's one way was the MyIT. Second way would be through the chat function. Of course, they can use that self-service portal. Everyone's familiar with self-service. If you want to allow them to do email, we can still do that. So I'll just create a quick incident here. We'll say create ticket. And we'll go ahead and send that. And what that's going to do, again, is create an incident. We should see a notification come back that incident was created. So, again, we're just kind of logging through all the ways that you could, from a user perspective, enter a ticket to go into the service desk. All right, so here I'm going to close this incident out. And let's say here we've got the notification. So again, if you've configured, or you can configure Remedyforce to send notifications when you create incidents, when incidents are updated, basically when any field changes, any status changes in an incident and you want to do some type of notification, you can do that. So now let's say we have the scenario where they've called in. So maybe I've got somebody on the phone. So I'm in as a technician. They're calling me. I'm into the Remedyforce console. I'm looking at my incidents, okay? And so I can see here I've got some 37 pages, but I'm just going to hit new. So who's calling me on the phone? Perhaps this is Peter. And so what I'm able to do in this client ID is just start typing in his name. That comes up for me. I'll go ahead and select him. If I wanted to, you'll notice the icon just to the right of the client ID. That's going to bring up for me a lookup window so I could look through all my clients and potentially choose one to create this ticket for. The next thing that I'm going to do is choose a template. So my staff, my administrator, can create templates that can be used by my staff to populate a lot of the fields on this form. So I am going to go ahead and hit the lookup window here, and what it's going to bring up are all the templates that I could choose from. So I can see there I've got about 40 to start to populate this particular form. So what we'll do on this one is we'll just say email incident. And what it's doing there is putting in my category. He's saying that his email is not syncing. Okay, so we'll plug that in. my incident type. Here for the source, again, because he's called in, I'm going to say phone, but you'll notice you'll have an exhaustive list to choose from. Again, that incident source, if you're going to try to trend people to use a different source to enter their tickets, this would be a field that you want to start capturing. So here we'll just say he's on the phone. My template has plugged in the impact and the urgency for this particular request. When I hit save, it's going to assign it a priority. And I can see that it's, as well, the template is assigning this to my application queue. Okay, so here we'll go ahead and hit save. Actually, let's do one other thing. Well, let's hit save here. Okay, so now what this is doing is creating this incident. I can see we've got some notifications again coming through. I'm just mousing over this so you can see quickly that that gets created. And if we want to alert Peter so that Peter receives an email, thank you for your incident, we can do that as well. Okay? So at this point, let's go ahead and close this incident down so we see all the tickets have come in. I can see, let's do a quick refresh. So I can see we've got the one that came over from the phone. I see the one that came through mail. We entered that ticket. And I can see the one that came through over the chat. Let's go ahead and pull up this one that came through chat. Okay. So this one, they're talking about the WinSCP. So from a technician perspective, we are providing them with tools to help them resolve this particular ticket. Now, at the very top, you'll see knowledge search. So let's say I'm a new user and I'm not necessarily aware of that WinSCP, but what I can do is go ahead and look through the knowledge base to see if there are some articles created. Maybe my colleagues have seen something like this and have done a resolution for it. So if we just do a quick knowledge search, what we're going to be able to see here is a way to kind of scope down what we want to review. Okay, so what we can see here, I've got 7 knowledge articles. And I look through the title, okay, not necessarily. So it's probably picking up some of the other keywords because you'll notice that I have a lot in here. So let's just make this say WinSCP. Okay, and then we'll do a quick search. So now that, you'll notice, tunes it down a lot more. So I can see I have 1 knowledge article that has to do with the WinSCP. I've got 15 incidents, 16 requests, etc. So again, as a technician, that may be helpful for me to resolve this ticket. I could peruse through the knowledge article, look at the incidents, and see how they were resolved before. We'll go ahead and close this down. Some of the other agent tools that we could use, you'll notice here the incident matching. So what that's going to do is go out there and match, much like we saw in that knowledge search, but look for similar incidents. So again, as a technician, I can review those and see if one of those resolutions is going to work for me. At the bottom part, I can see additional websites that I may want to launch into to resolve this. So I can see the Apple support. So maybe we're a heavy Apple environment. I can put in the support.apple.com so my technicians from the actual incident can hit that site and do their searching accordingly. Same thing if you're a particular hardware vendor. If you have a lot of Dell machines, you could put in support.dell.com. If you have a lot of whatever vendor you may be, you can put in their URL there. So again, what you're allowing your technician to do is right from this ticket, have at their fingertips anything that's necessary to resolve this particular ticket. Okay, so here, the other thing that you'll see just to the left of the agent tools are some actions. And so if they need to, let's say, I need to do some research on this particular issue, well, then what I'm going to come in here and do is say a new action. And what you're able to do is you can this particular action list, you can stage this with some of the common actions that your technicians are doing. So for this one, I'm just going to say research information. And when I do this, I can say how much time I need to do my research. And what this is going to do is when we look on that record details for this particular incident, we'll see now all the time that has been associated. So here I've got my action for research. How much time am I going to take? Give me about 15 minutes to see what's going on with this. Okay, and we're just going to save it. Now, anytime we do that, I'm going to head over to this record details, and what we'll see under the action, again, a running history of all the action that has occurred on this particular ticket. Okay? Similarly, if I wanted to send an email, give them a suggestion, maybe they just need to do a reboot, or I could do the email and then have for them to perform a reboot. So if I say email, and this is going to go, again, because Peter was the client ID that was associated, we have a valid email for Peter. So this communication is going to go back and forth to that user. So here I'll just say reboot. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and send that. And then again, what this is going to do is add that action into my action history so I can see quickly we had a research information, and now we've got some email that was sent as well. And if I want to do additional actions, write additional notes, I'm going to be able to do that. Okay, some of the other actions that you'll see there, if I want to do the closing of this particular ticket, I can do that from here. If I want to print this to PDF, I can do that as well. We'll go ahead and close this one. Now, when I opt for close versus quick close, it's going to prompt me for a couple of answers or responses. If I do the quick close, it's just changing that status to close, and then we're done with it. But here, for example, it wants the closure category. So we'll say something like resolved. I'm not opting to do any follow-up, but if we did, then I can put in a follow-up date. Again, so we'll have some action to do later. This category, see, we'll put in just quick applications, perfect. And then let's plug in what our resolution was. Okay. Now, you'll notice here as well, if we had tasks that we had created, so in other words, the initial ticket came in, we needed to do something with WinSCP. If I wanted to create a task for a colleague to maybe go check the permissions on that application, I could do that. But you'll notice here I have the option to close any of my linked tasks and my linked incidents as a function of me closing this ticket. I don't currently have any, so we'll just go ahead and hit save. Okay. And so these are some of the ways that your technicians can go ahead and do the closing of these tickets. Now, if we go back to that main screen, which you see 1060 has been closed out, and then whatever the technician is can begin to work on additional issues that have come into the help desk. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of other things. With Remedyforce, you will get canned reports and canned dashboards as it pertains to all the aspects of Remedyforce, but in particular, we're talking about incident management. So here, if we go and look, the dashboards, the third tab in, I'll just go ahead and hit this. I'm looking at the Remedyforce staff dashboard. Again, you're going to get several out of the box. I've opted for just the one, but what this dashboard is showing me is my open records, my priority one incidents. I'm looking at changes. I'm looking at SLAs. And behind each of these dashboards is really just a report. So if we look at this one, I can see 54% of my incidents relate to my database. When I click on this, now what it's going to do is throw me into the details of that dashboard, and the details ends up being a report. So here, if we look at this, I'm able to see here we are grouping by category, and then I'm showing incident number, last name, description, etc. for this particular report. Well, if I want to customize this report, I'm just going to hit this Customize button, and then what you'll see up here on the left-hand side of the screen are all the fields that I could include on this report. So I've got my graph there at the top. And again, we said we were grouping by category, and then I'm showing go here to the top, the incident number, the last name, the description, client email address, etc. So if I wanted to add, if I come over here on the left and we want to see, we'll just cherry pick one of these fields. Let's put in here, we've got the category, we've got the client email. Let's put in here, we've got the last name. Let's put in the first name as well. So what I'm going to do is grab the field on the left. Let me get this back to the top so I can see. I'm going to grab this field on the left and just put it here on the right. Okay, so now I've got the first name and the last name. And I've got the description and the email. If we decide, I don't really care about the email, then any of these fields that's appearing just to the right is that pull down, and we can remove a given column. Okay? And so there again, anything on the left, you can drag and put it onto the right. So here we've got the status as well. Maybe we don't necessarily need that status. We can just take that off. Okay? Maybe we do want to see the total work time. We'll just drag that and drop it. Okay? So that's as easy as it is to customize the report. Now here at the top, we have the various filters. And on these filters, I'm looking at all incidents. But if I only wanted to look at my incidents or my team's incidents or a specific queue, I can filter this down accordingly. Same with the time fields here. So here I'm looking across the whole Remedyforce installation that occurred in my environment. But if I wanted to look at just a certain year, just a certain month, just a certain quarter, I can do that. So you can get very granular with the amount of time that you want to look at for any of these reports. Okay, so here we'll just close this out. We're not going to save it. And then we just end up back into this report section. Now we'll show you here, I mentioned that you had a number of canned reports out of the box. So here when I end up on the Remedyforce reports, here I'll just say incidents. What it's going to do is pull up, again, those canned reports that are available to me out of the box. And then if I want to do any customization, I can do that accordingly. So if we look at the incidents by source, so this is the one we were alluding to before. I can see a good amount of those coming through self-service. I have some over the phone. So this is a report maybe I give to management. Hey, we need your employees to not utilize the phone as much with the service desk. When they're interacting with the service desk, we want to use one of these other venues. You can do that. And there again, I can see quickly what I'm showing in my report. Now, sometimes you may want to, the manager that you need to send this to, not a user of Remedyforce. Maybe you want to schedule this report and send it to them on a weekly basis. I can easily do that. So here when I say schedule my future runs, I can see who I want to email this to so I can send it to others. Here's my frequency. And when I want to start sending this report and when I want to stop sending this report. So scheduling the reports is something that you're going to be able to accomplish for users who may not be using the system like the technicians on that daily basis. Okay, so that concludes the incident management portion of Remedyforce.